you all here, and I say all because it's great also to have our numbers augmented with the Victoria Police, who brought along the equine support. Thanks for coming, and it's great to have you here and no doubt supporting our cause. Well, the CPRS, some people say that the Greens are hypocritical for not supporting the CPRS. They say, well, look, this scheme is a step in the right direction. It's better than nothing. We ought to at least support that. The carbon pollution reduction scheme, or the continued polluting regardless scheme, is worse than nothing at all, and it will not be supported by the Greens at any time, not in this form. First thing we've got to say about the scheme is, of course, and we all know, the targets. They're scandalous, and that's because they've been set by polluters, not by scientists. We're going to pay out, as Jasmine said, about $24 billion, that's at least, to big carbon as part of this scheme. $24 billion. That means it's the first source of revenue in history in Australia which will run at a loss. And what are we getting for all this money we're paying out to big carbon? Well, according to Treasury modelling, nothing. There won't be any reduction of carbon pollution in Australia. What we will get will be bought in and imported from overseas, and that won't be much anyway. We're giving major concessions to coal. For the first 5 years they'll be getting concessions which of course gives them a windfall in profits and encourages the use of coal. The energy intensive trade exposed industries will get far more. They get 25% free permits. This is industries like aluminium smelting, 25% free permits, going up to 45% in 2020. In other words, we are actually encouraging the expansion of major carbon pollution by this scheme. Exact opposite of what we want to achieve. Now look, one of the things about this scheme which I'm not sure has had much coverage, but in my view is the worst part of the scheme, is that it makes it impossible for future governments to ratchet up the targets. And that's because under a section of the legislation, the carbon pollution permits won't just be permits, they will be property rights. And you've all seen the counsel, and you know that the Government of Australia under the Constitution can't acquire property except on just terms. So you give this property right to carbon polluters, it's a social evil, give them the right to do this evil thing and make it a property right, and it means that future governments down the track can't acquire those property rights or diminish those property rights except on just terms. Now that is scandalous, and it's not what was proposed by Garno or anybody. And we're left with a scheme that will make things worse, and it will not be supported by the Greens. Now they're digging a hole. They're digging it deeper, and they won't stop digging, and they can't get out of it. Now, they want to take us down into the graveyard caused by their coal mines, and they're happy about that so long as they can clutch onto their riches on the way down. The climate crisis is the great moral challenge of our age, Kevin Rudd, just up the road today. It is. And we need some leadership to confront it. And leadership is not doing no more and no less than other countries are doing, and in fact we're doing less. The solutions are available and they are inspiring. We owe it to our children and to the planet to adopt those solutions. Thank you.